Hello everyone, I'm PapaKenn and welcome to welcome to the Season 7B recap for Discovering Doctor Who. And this episode is going to be fairly brief actually, just because I feel like most of what I have to say can be summed up in one category really. But as for my overall thoughts on the season, obviously that's going to be held until near the end of this particular video. So let's get into, well, starting with my favorite episode. And, well, this is why I said it's going to be a pretty brief video, because it'll be pretty easily explained. My favorite episode of the season, and keep in mind here, I'm counting 7B and the specials that came at the end as being one whole, basically. And my favorite episode is the Day of the Doctor. I mean, the 50th anniversary. It's really hard to outdo that in any way. I mean, there are, episodes from previous seasons that I feel rival the 50th anniversary as far as how much I personally enjoyed them. But as far as this season goes, I mean, even if we were doing, both halves of Season 7 together, I mean, it's just so hard to outdo that episode or that special. It was just so very well done. And yeah, it's my favorite episode for a lot of reasons. If you are curious as to why, and you haven't seen the videos, go and watch the live reaction and the the review, because it's such a phenomenal episode. I did point out a few issues I had with it, but I mean, other than those minor issues that I would consider nitpicks by far, it was just really, really well done. And honestly, of the entire season, again, including the specials here, if you want to count the last 3 episodes as one whole, as in like sort of a 3-part trilogy, they were the best part of the season as well. And in fact, I feel like they kind of took on the pattern of that a lot of trilogies, as far as movies go, the same pattern that they do, especially if you want to refer to like Star Wars. Like the first episode, The Name of the Doctor, really well done, a bit, let's just say unpolished. I don't know if that's the right way to put it, but it's like, really well done, get you, pulled in. The second episode, Day of the Doctor, is The Empire Strikes Back, because it's just the biggest, it's the biggest and considered by many to be the best of the trilogy. And then the third one comes out where we have The Time of the Doctor, where, it's the conclusion, it's the end for Matt Smith, obviously, and it's really well done, has some issues that the fandom doesn't seem to care for, like with Star Wars, it's the Ewoks. And, with Doctor Who, or Whovians, it tends to be the, the episode had quite a few issues, but it was still good, in my opinion. And, so yeah, overall, the trilogy is probably the best part of the second half of the season, whereas my favorite episode overall would definitely have to be The Day of the Doctor, because we get, Matt Smith, the return of David Tennant, we get John Hurt as the War Doctor. Just really well done, and by far my, just easily the best episode of the entire season, or potentially the best I've seen of Doctor Who so far. I don't know whether that's accurate for sure or not. I may do like a top 10 episodes of New Who once I finally do get caught up, and rank it personally, but as it is right now, I would say it's definitely up there, easily top 3, but we'll have to see, I guess. Alright, so moving on from there, one thing I do want to say is I feel this season has an overall underrated episode, especially given some of the comments that people had for it in the videos, as well as just comments that I've seen online about the episode overall. And I would have to say, and I know I'm going to mispronounce the name, but The Rings of Akhaten, however you pronounce it. I feel like that episode was just overall underrated. I feel like it's a lot better than people give it credit for, at least in my opinion. Now, it definitely had some issues. I noted those in the review, but I enjoyed the episode overall. I found it to be quite fun, and the singing was spectacular, in my opinion. And the little girl, it's like, people have their own opinions about child actors. I definitely have my own. I feel like, the little girl that played, I don't even remember her name at this point, but I thought she did a pretty decent job acting-wise, singing-wise. It's like, people are going to have their own critiques about the singing skills of children. But in my opinion, overall, I thought she did a really good job. And again, there were several elements of that episode that I really liked, so I just overall feel like it's underrated, and I don't know, deserves a little bit more love in the Whovian fandom. Again, just my opinion. But moving on, it is, I listed here some of my biggest issues with Season 7B, and I feel like they're issues that, some people will agree with at the very least, but my first biggest issue with this season was the Doctor's treatment of Clara. In particular, one of the near-end scenes in Journey to the Center of the TARDIS. And I don't know, the way he reacted to her, and just the way he acted to her sometimes, up until we, finally learned the truth behind her and everything. I don't know, I found the way the Doctor acted around her very peculiar. I don't know whether it would have been a better choice to have the Doctor come out and say earlier why, he was so intrigued in her, or what, but I feel like, especially at that point in time, that the Doctor's treatment of her was a bit much. Now, as I explained in the review video for the Journey to the Center of the TARDIS, I can kind of understand why he reacted the way he did, especially at that particular point in time. But I just feel like the way that Clara was treated is kind of, for me, it kind of boiled down to he was being a big jerk, and overall unnecessarily so. You could argue that, the emotions that were brought forth by the particular situation sort of threw, logic as far as the character goes out the window. But yeah, I don't know, that's just one of my big issues, that I felt like Clara didn't seem to be treated very well at times, especially in that particular episode. But moving on from there, I have a second issue that I do want to mention as well, and this is probably my biggest issue with Clara overall as a character. I feel like she wasn't written very well at times. Now, there have definitely been times, especially since The Name of the Doctor, that Clara has been written rather well. She's been written, in my opinion, more as an actual character, more as a full-fleshed character. But earlier in the season, or at least, throughout the main chunk of Season 7B, I don't know, it just sort of felt like the writers didn't have a full grasp of what to do with Clara, which, can easily derive from her having different incarnations, so maybe when the episodes were written they had a particular version of her in mind. But yeah, I feel like that while I did overall really enjoy the character, I enjoy Clara, I'm looking forward to seeing what happens with her in Season 8, where it's been explained to me that apparently she gets fleshed out more, which I'm really looking forward to. But yeah, I just feel like overall, even Moffat, who is the head writer and the one that was behind all of the little wibbly-wobbly stuff throughout this season involving Clara, I feel like while Jenna Coleman did in my opinion, really good job in her portrayal of Clara, every iteration that it might have been, a lot of it just boiled down to the writing, which was also a big issue for Matt Smith throughout, his seasons. It's like, I feel overall he did a great job as the Doctor, but the writers at times just didn't do that great of a job with the character, or sometimes even just the plot that the Doctor had to work with, but it was carried on by his acting, just as Clara was overall carried on by Jenna Coleman's acting. So yeah, I don't know, while I listed those as my biggest issues with Season 7B and the specials, those aren't particularly gigantic issues. It's like, some people could argue they're nitpicks, others just like, mild issues, but as far as the season itself goes, those are my biggest problems, shall we say. Alright, now, moving on from the issues, I have just one, last thing to say. And it's not even really about Season 7B, it's leading into Season 8. And it's one that I'm assuming I know the answer for, but it still does, it's still a bit curious to me. But given that we went from Matt Smith to Peter Capaldi, a man who, in my opinion, especially for an older guy, is, you know, pretty good looking. I'm curious as to see how they're going to, well, basically my question was, will they set aside Clara's growing love for the Doctor? Now, not like, just, being friends, but it was obvious that she had a growing love interest in the Doctor, especially, well, I mean, since she came on, but, especially in the later episodes, it was evident that she was growing this love attachment to him. So I'm curious as to whether they'll push that aside, starting with season 8, since, the Doctor is visually, and the actor, obviously, in reality, is a bit outside of her age range. So, yeah, I'm certainly curious about that. So yeah, that's my big question. Again, will they set aside Clara's growing love for the Doctor in Season 8? So yeah, I guess I'll find that out pretty quick. Or at least I assume so, as soon as I get into Season 8. Well, moving on from there, now like I said, I know that, me talking about the season itself was rather brief, but, I mean, what more can I say? It's like, anything I say was my favorite is most likely going to come to The Day of the Doctor, because it was so well done. I mean, we got the closest to a movie version of Doctor Who that may possibly ever happen. Well, okay, in the new Who, because obviously the 8th Doctor had that made-for-TV movie, so I guess that counts as well. But I'm not counting that in this. It's like, as far as new Who goes, that's the closest to an actual Doctor Who movie we may ever come. I don't know whether it'll happen or not, but yeah, as it stands right now, just the 50th anniversary, the Day of the Doctor, just stands above all the rest. It has some of the most amazing music, some of the greatest lines, and it's the best episode of season/series 7, especially 7B. So there you go. But moving on from there, I do want to show some fan art that I received from a couple of people. First of all is Whovian305, and she sent me these bits of fan art after the live stream that I did for the reaction video on Day of the Doctor, and I just absolutely loved it. I love the little comparison between my reactions to David Tennant's last line in the episode and then her original reaction to David Tennant's line. So yeah, that was a lot of fun. And then also the little group shot of me with the other Doctors, that was really, really cool. Thank you so much for drawing that. And then I think I'll actually throw up, not throw up, but I'll put the picture of my reaction up here again, because she included Midna, the adorable little kitty who is currently in my window. And I love that whenever people throw in, just little references to my pets, because I absolutely love them. And that was really cool. So thank you so much for that fan art. I really do appreciate it. If anyone else made some and I forgot about it, please do let me know and either send a link or remind me of the images, because I've completely forgotten apparently, and I'll include those in an upcoming video for sure. Now I also got some kind of sort of fan art from my buddy the 1V Decepticon, and it came from a still image from when he paused one of my videos at one point, and I guess you would call it more of memes than than fan art, really, but I count it as fan art in this case. And it's just really cool. It's like, as you can see, I've thrown up some of the images here on the screen, and those really cracked me up. They were really enjoyable, some more bizarre than others. By far my favorite one would definitely have to be the Jurassic Park reference. So yeah, thank you very much for that, V. I really do appreciate it. And to both of you, thank you very much for the fan art. Again, all the thank you for the memes, V. Alright, now before I end this recap, one thing that I do want to say is that as of Friday, the Patreon page that I had mentioned in a previous video is live for PapaKennMedia. I'll provide a link to it down below, obviously, and I'll put the text for the link here on the video. Basically, it's patreon.com/PapaKennMedia. And one thing I definitely do want to reiterate for all of you is that I made this just for people that might want to contribute a little bit extra to PapaKennMedia. I am never going to like make videos that you won't be able to see on YouTube. I don't want to do that because I appreciate you all as fans in general, and I don't want to play favorites in any regard. There is, like, you know, you're able to establish reward tiers on Patreon, which, as it is right now, it's like I basically set one reward tier, and that's like $1, which is the minimum that you can donate on the website. And but yeah, it's like, I don't know, it's like in the future, if people seem interested, I might start doing maybe Patreon specific contests or something like that, but it's not in my plans as of this time, because I really just set it up as a way for, you know, people, if they really wanted to contribute to the PapaKennMedia monthly budget. If you want to and are able to do that, that's absolutely amazing. Thank you very much. But if you either can't or just don't want to, that's awesome as well. I just appreciate the fact that you watch these videos and that you might comment on some of them. You know, I appreciate all of you Kenvians regardless of whether or not you want to chip in a little bit of money. You know, I'm blown away by the fact that we're over 800 subs at this point as it is, and it's still growing! It's still growing! I'm absolutely blown away. But, yeah, that's going to be the end of the video. Again, if you want to go check out that Patreon, link down below. But as for Season 7B, I mean, you know, we've drawn, you know, to the close of Matt Smith's run. I'm really looking forward to getting into Peter Capaldi's era. And yes, Last Breath will have a reaction video. Hopefully it will be a good one. And yeah, I don't know where to go on from there. Oh, one last thing. If you're interested in seeing me and my wife try out the 11th Doctor's favorite, Fish Fingers and Custard, I'll provide a link up here that you can click if you're watching with annotations, or down in the description below if you want to go check that out as well. You might be surprised. So yeah, alright, everyone, thank you so much. Thank you so much for watching for, well, not including the specials and the recaps, obviously. Well, no, wait, the specials. Not including the recaps, it's like, you know, over 86 episodes at this point. Thank you all so very much. I'm rambling. It's time to bring this to a close. Until next time, everyone, for the reaction to Last Breath, I'm PapaKenn, and Alonzi!